guys, and welcome to Boho Jewel on YouTube. So I'm a little embarrassed because I'm still figuring out all of the online kind of stuff, the technology. A couple of weeks ago I posted a video on how to work with casting molds to create resin jewelry, these little things right here, and I ended up accidentally doing a part 1 and a part 2 because I stopped the first video at the end instead of pausing it, and there was no going back after that. And then yesterday when I posted a video, I deleted part 2. I don't know how, I don't know why. So here I am with part 2 of using casting molds to create resin jewelry, and I'm gonna show you kind of how I finish things up to actually get them into jewelry. So I wanted to mention I do use these plastic molds. They come in, you can get a lot of different shapes, different size trays, things like that. It's a lot of fun. I like the plastic because it's easy to pop out. You don't have to use any kind of a spray or release spray or anything like that. Now, if you are using silicone molds, you definitely want to use some kind of a release so that you don't end up with your pieces stuck in there, because that would be super frustrating. Now, one thing to note with these, when you use them a whole lot, you'll start getting little scratches, and I don't know if that's really going to show up on the camera really well, but you'll start getting little scratches in there just from where you pop them out so much. So be aware of that, because if there are little scratches on the inside, the resin's going to pick that up. So I'm just going to pop this one out and show you. Came out super easy. So here's one that's finished. So now how do we make this into a necklace or a pair of earrings? So the earrings are pretty simple, because the earrings, I just use these little tiny bezels, and they have the little loop on them. So you just take your ear wire then and you open it up. Let me find an ear wire for you real quick. So, sorry, unprepared. So the ear wires have the little loops on the bottom. You open that up, you connect your earring, and you're good to go. Now, as far as the pendants, you have a couple of different options. I like to use bails, and bails are just little flat pieces with the hooks, and you can glue them onto the back. They come in different shapes. Here's one that's a little smaller and a different shape, right? Different metal finishes. You can also use little screws. So that's what I've used on this one to kind of loop it in there. And you can see it in the back where you'll see the threading. So, and the screws come in different metal finishes as well. They're kind of small. So my tip for these, you really want to get these into your pendant before they sit for a week. When the resin sits for a while, it will actually, it's like it kind of gets more and more compact over time. So I've run into that where if I don't get this little screw worked in there, right, kind of when it's freshly out of the tray, it can get really difficult, and you can end up kind of damaging your resin piece. I've even broken the loop off the screw. So that's something to keep in mind. Another thought to keep in mind is when you're working with resin, especially if you're doing clear pieces, you want to think about how the bail and how everything's going to look when you're finished, because if it's clear, you're going to see this through the front, right? So something to keep in mind. Now, if you're doing something like this, super shiny, it's hard to pick up, where you have glitter in the background, or you've got paper in the background, like I was showing in the other video, you're not going to notice it as much. And the other thing to consider when you're using these screws, when you're creating your design, is to make sure you have enough space here where you're not going to run into something, such as a seashell or another finding. So, for example, here, I've kind of hidden it behind the seashell. So as you're creating your designs, consider that, how you're going to finish it. Now, the last thing I do with my pendants, once I've got the hooks in there or on the back, I put a clear coat glaze on the top just to finish it off, because it gives it a little extra shine. It also helps to protect the resin a little bit. So here you can also do magnets, and it's the same theory, right, as I was just talking about with finishing the back. So with the magnets, this one, I have all those little glittery hearts in the back, so you don't see that black magnet coming through. And with these, I just glue a magnet on the back. That's it. It's really simple. Now with this one, I left it clear, And it works because the seashells are bright colors, so that black magnet is going to make it look like the entire thing is filled in black. It kind of magnifies it. So that's something to consider too. So there's lots and lots of options. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions, any comments, if you're doing some of these projects at home, I'd love to see them. So post them in the comments below. Or if you like to share your work on Instagram, you can tag me, Boho Jewel, on Instagram, and I'd love to check out your work. So I will post here toward the end, I will post the video that this is actually the second part of. And click on my little Boho Jewel bubble too, so that you can subscribe and follow the madness and see what's coming up next. I'm actually getting ready to do another video about setting up at craft fairs. So if you're a beginner in the area of participating in craft fairs, then stay tuned and watch the next video as well. Thanks, you guys. Have a great day.